feel no ways tired. I come too far.
Amazing grace.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce. Hot sauce.
Really?
You don't?
I do. I absolutely do.
Well, I hope so.
I do.
Yes.
Now, listen, I just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people.
Is it working?
Nope.
Where my South Carolina people, y'all better get out there. All my South Carolina people, support our brother Marcel Dixon. Our brother Marcel, he's doing good right now. He's looking real good. He has a lot of grassroots momentum. Now he's getting mainstream momentum. And that brother is on code with us. So yeah, they sent Kamala Harris. Family, let me tell you how desperate they are. They sent Kamala Harris down there. They sent Kamala Harris down there to try to save James Clyburn's campaign.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Family, did y'all see the clip of Kamala down there pandering? Kamala Harris was down there pandering, family. Kamala Harris was down there talking about some damn collard greens.
You name it!
Let me show the clip. She was out there talking about some damn collard greens. Listen to Kamami.
Goose Creek, and I was there with Jay Moore and Charlemagne God, and I was about to head out of town to meet my family and cook for Thanksgiving. I won't mention where I was going, but where I was going, I knew I was not going to be able to find the kind of greens there that I could get here.
Bruh.
And so, yes, that was me in my suit and heels, walking through Charleston International Airport, carrying 2 big plastic bags full of fresh South Carolina collard greens.
Her and that goddamn cackling.
And yes, as I walked on the plane, there were a few people who gave me the look and the nod.
Other groups, they get with other groups, and boy, Asians, we're gonna bring a K-pop group up here and we're gonna give you $3 billion to all your organizations for Asian hate crime. Hispanics, we're gonna allocate $16 billion to you. Ukrainians, we're gonna offer you $30 billion. Black folks, well, I ate some greens. I be making greens and shit. I be making collard greens. Collard green, this woman is an East Indian Brahmin. Let's stop playing. This woman did not grow up in a foundational black American household. Who is making greens, ma'am? You mean curry greens? Hell are you talking about? Kamami? Well, you weren't making no damn collard greens. You making some damn baklava or some shit. You weren't making no collard greens. Stop it. That's your girl right there. They had to send her down here to try to save Clyburn. With all that damn cackling.
Oh, wow. Am I talking? Wow. It seemed as though I was just talking and no one heard anything that I was saying. Ain't that something? I'm just a talking and a talking and a talking. I really apologize for that guy. Huh. That's odd, trying to do all this technology and all this stuff all at once. I did this once before. This isn't, oh boy, I hate that. So, let's see what part 2 of this entire debate. You guys probably didn't even hear anything that I said all that time. Let me check something. Wow. Okay, I'm going to see if I can run back what I said. Okay. It seems as though there's a lot of ambiguity in the narratives, in the speeches that this particular man had to say. Now, you know, they said that maybe we'll just hope. We'll just hope. Just pray. Oh, yes. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to dig into his narrative. I would like to see exactly what people are voting for, because I was very moved by the fact that these were two black men. Now, considering what the predominant narrative has been out there in the world, out there in social media, it's always interesting to see the dance that is being played, the dance that is I don't know, that is taking place. Whenever hard questions, whenever specific questions that ask for specific answers, whenever these things arise in the political sphere, here you have a man by the name of Warnock. He's debating a man by the name of Herschel Walker. Oh, this is war or walk. Or walk away. Here we go, part 2. My goodness, I wish that in the future, I think I'm going to get an engineer or something. Goodness gracious. My whole monologue. Here we go. Part 2.
That their life can be any longer or that they can dream of something bigger than the street they live on. A lot of things can happen. I grew up in one of those neighborhoods, but I had a nurturing family, and I benefited from good federal public policy, like the Head Start program, like Upward Bound, like Pell Grants and low-interest student loans. And to invest in our children is to invest in our best resource.
Senator Warnock, thank you. We are moving on, gentlemen, to the next question, and this topic is about personal integrity. Buck?
We're going to shift gears a little bit here. Senator Warnock, in 2020, you tweeted this: unemployment benefits have expired, rent is due, and many Georgia families are at risk of eviction. My opponents are supposed to be serving the people in Washington, but they are clearly concerned with their own interests. Well, recent published reports talk about a property that your church owns, Columbia Towers at MLK Village in Atlanta. It's a home for the disadvantaged. At least a dozen lawsuits have been filed by residents evicted for not being able to pay their rent. Some of the outstanding balances are less than $30. As someone who receives more than $7,000 a month for a housing allowance from Ebenezer Baptist Church, how do you explain this to Georgia voters who are struggling currently to make ends meet?
Well, let me say that serving in the United States Senate and continuing to serve my church is the honor of my life. And it gives me a lens through which to do the work that I'm doing. But here's why you know I'm running a...
Stop and pause. Keep that in your back pocket. His church and politics.
Against a desperate candidate. Anytime a candidate would stoop to the level of trying to sully the name, he and his allies, to sully the name of Martin Luther King Jr.'s church and John Lewis's church, you know that's a desperate candidate. Let me tell you about my church. My church is a Matthew 25 church. We spend every week, every day feeding the hungry and the homeless. They know that those false charges that they've created are not true. We stand up for poor people every single day, and I ran for the Senate to do at a policy level what we do at a local level every single day. I'm not going to be distracted by him and his allies. My people know the truth. They know the work we do every single day, and I couldn't be prouder of them. Proud to represent the Senate and proud to serve Ebenezer Baptist Church.
So just
Okay, stop, pause. Now, pay attention to that. My people. Wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to be campaigning for the people that don't know your work? Your people know your work? You're supposed to be laying down your track record, the work that you have done, not just keep it mysterious. Well, my people know the work. See, because that almost sounds like there is no real work that you're willing to put on the table of scrutiny, because you know that it will be scrutinized and relegated to the category of a nothing burger. That's what it sounds like. Let me press play. Let me hear you out.
to clarify, your position is that the allegations in these lawsuits are not true?
I am saying that it is very obvious that my opponent and his allies are busy trying to sully Ebenezer Baptist Church.
It's called a straw man argument. That's called a straw man argument. Whenever there's someone that is inside of the church that someone is taking issue with, the straw man argument is to remove the specific person from the seat of scrutiny and then replace them with the establishment that they're affiliated with. This is old game. This is straw man 101. It's like, well, that school has a leaky roof. I don't want my children going to that school. Oh! He's against education. He doesn't like schools. He wants to destroy the schools. See, that's called straw man argument. Whenever someone is dealing with one specific element of a point of contention, people that are trying to escape the irrefutable nature of the problem, meaning that this you cannot argue the opposition of this, because it's common sense that this is illegal, wrong, and needs to be fixed, ameliorated. So what do? You ignore it and start talking about something else. This is that trick that he just pulled. Pay attention.
Now you see the problem with the truth.
Switching gears a little bit here, sir. Your ex-wife filed a lawsuit asking for increased child support, saying that she had to pay for child care on days that your duties as a senator interfered with your parenting time, and citing significant increases in your income. In 30 seconds, what is your response to that law?
Damn! See, boy, your baby mama. Baby mama. Your baby mama done came back up in this thing, man. Come on, bro. Look at Look at the frown on his face. He like, man, her again? Here we go.
Lawsuit.
Listen, I went through a divorce, like a lot of people. And while that was a painful period, what came out of that was two amazing children that I just talked to before I came on this stage. And my children know that I am with them and for them, and that I support them in every single way.
Okay, please, can somebody remind me? Let me rewind this. What the hell was the question? Because it seems like this man does not remember questions. Let me rewind this.
Interfered with your parenting time and
hold on. Let's do this again.
That my opponent and his allies.
Hold on, because I don't know. It seems like he has a habit of
the
this.
truth.
Come on.
Interfered with your parenting time. Switching gears a little bit here, sir. Your ex-wife filed a lawsuit asking for increased child support, saying that she had to pay for child care on days that your duties as a senator interfered with your parenting time, and citing significant increases in your income. In 30 seconds, what is your response to that lawsuit?
Listen, I went through a divorce, like a lot of people. And while that was a painful period, what came out of that was two amazing children that I just...
Stop, pause. Let me say exactly what she said. She said, look, you've been doing all this senator stuff, and the responsibility has been heavy on me, and you've been getting more and more and more and more and more and more money. You've been getting more money. You got an increase in pay, but ain't nothing changing on this end. So here's his response to that. What the hell is he talking about? He ain't addressing directly. He's giving kind of a backstory. Here we go.
Talked to before I came on this stage. And my children know that I am with them and for them, and that I support them in every single way that a father does.
Don't get
Here
me
we
wrong.
go.
I love my
Let's
solar
let
power
this
generator.
ad get
There's
out.
just one problem.
Thank you. Here we go.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. Now to you, Mr. Walker. Recent ads have highlighted allegations of past domestic violence. They've raised questions about how transparent you've been as far as your resume. In 1 minute, how do you respond to voters who question your integrity, both personally and professionally?
First of all, I've been very transparent, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And I say I had a mental problem, and I'll be a champion for mental health.
Absolutely,
so many
Tahuti.
people suffer from mental health. But to have people like Senator Warnock that demonize mental health, when I want to tell everyone out there, you can get help. Don't listen to Senator Warnock and his people. You can get help. All you got to do is ask. All you got to do is ask. But the problem with the truth, you just saw it. You just saw it because he won't answer that about evicting the people from the church. And I told him I will pay I'll pay their salary. You're evicting them right now during these hard times.
We have not evicted. We have not evicted those
I didn't write the article.
I
didn't write the article. And most of the people out there still my time.
I'm okay with the discussion if you start talking over each other.
I mean, okay. Let me.
We have not evicted the
then I can
tenants.
speak, Senator.
And he should take that money and pay it back to the veterans that he exploited while pretending to run
that too. And see, you can tell that he's not desperate, because if he had read in that thing, he would have saw that I had nothing to do with that. But he is so desperate right now, and he really wants that seat. He's now telling you, I didn't evict anyone. It is written in the paper. I didn't do this. Well, Senator, you did. And it's okay to speak the truth. Do not bear false witness, Senator. Do not bear false witness.
Mr. Walker, to keep this moving, I want to follow up with you. You have been very open. Mr. Senator Warnock, we need to move forward here. You have been very open about your struggles with mental illness, and you even wrote a book about your diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder. We recently asked if you were still receiving treatment, and this is what you had to say.
No, that's all done, and you don't need to, and that's why I tell people. I think one thing I told people is I've been open about it, and I was open about it, 14 years ago.
Mr. Walker, in 30 seconds.
Hold on. He got dissociative identity disorder. Now, look, I already know about a lot of different, mental health issues. I think I have a good idea about what dissociative identity disorder is. My thing is, dude, you ain't gonna wake up okay. I ain't gonna say that. Let me just press play. Okay.
Can you clarify this? Are you saying you no longer have dissociative identity disorder, or is this something that you continue to this day to manage?
No, you don't have to have treatment for it. And I encourage people to continue to talk to people. I talk to my pastors. And I continue to get help if I need help. But I don't need any help. I'm doing well. But that's the reason why I tell anyone out there that is suffering from any type of mental illness, you can get help. All you got to do is...
Let me tell you something. If ever you are in the government and you are trying to go for a clearance, there are different clearances. There's like secret, like top secret. There's different levels, like top secret, and there's like all these different like red badge, all these different things. It gives you higher and higher clearance and has you privy to more and more top secret information. One thing that they look for is a psychiatric evaluation. It almost disqualifies you. It makes it a hell of a lot harder for you to get those top secret clearances if you have a history of mental health issues. Yeah. Here's the interesting thing. You got dissociative identity disorder, and you going for the Senate. How much information will you be privy to? I'm just wondering where that line is. Where do they draw that line of this guy here, he qualifies versus he's a threat? I'm wondering, do they throw away the entire policy just to get a Democrat out, or I'm curious. Here we go.
And I will always be a champion for mental health.
And just to clarify, how can Georgia voters, though, be assured that this will not impact your ability to lead if elected?
Because I'm ready to lead today. I'm ready to vote with the Georgia voters, whereas Senator Warnock has voted with Joe Biden 96% of the time. I'm ready to vote with the Georgia voters today.
All he had to say was, have you seen the last few leaders in this world? All of them crazy. Damn it. Whatever the psychologists tell me, basically he giving me a bill of normal based off of what has been voted for in the past. That's all he should have said. No, because he definitely, he already half sleepy on one side of his face. I don't want him to say anything more problematic. Here we go.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on to our next topic. Tina?
And that topic, gentlemen, is health insurance. Georgia is one of 12 states that have not accepted federal funding to expand Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act. Mr. Walker, with more than 1.5 million Georgians uninsured, in 1 minute, is it time for the federal government to step in to ensure all Georgians have access to health care?
Well, right now, people have coverage for health care. It's according to what type of coverage do you want. Because if you have an able-bodied job, you're going to have health care. But everyone else have health care is the type of health care you're going to get. And I think that is the problem. And what Senator Warnock wants you to do is depend on the government. What I want you to do is get off the government health care and get on the health care he's got to get you a better health care. So that's what I'm trying to do, to make you independent rather than dependent.
Okay. All right, listen. Now, that makes sense, but it's easier to just say that than to actually implement that. Let me hear if they're going to go deeper into it before I give an opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Senator Warnock, you have 1 minute. You've vowed to close the Medicaid gap by expanding access coverage in the Affordable Care Act marketplace. So this comes with a $50 billion price tag, the national debt already at an all-time high. Where is this money coming from? You have 60 seconds, sir.
Hired bras that make you feel exposed.
Okay, Big Bertha.
Get rid of
Your
that
big ass
and
over.
try me.
This is not a theoretical issue for me. When I think about healthcare, I think about Lori Davis, a trauma nurse in Covington, Georgia, who's...
This dude is good. This dude is Obama. Look, he's doing the Obama script. He's good. This dude he's a politician. If you are voting, let me tell you something. Step outside of church, because that has been one of the culprits. That's been the detriment of especially a lot of black people in the South, is there's an affinity to church and anything that comes across as like preaching. One way that you really draw people in is by telling a story. That goes with like a speech. What's the word? It's oh my goodness. Well, when you're delivering a speech, but there's a name of a subject, a college course, speech and debate. Yeah. When you are speaking to someone, tell a story. It draws them in. This right here, he does not answer a question. He appeals to the emotion of people. That's the reason that you tell a story. Let's hear the story.
Spent her career.
Let me back it up a little bit. He can start.
Already at an all-time high. Where is this money coming from?
Hold on. Let me back it up to the question so we can refresh.
What I want you to do is depend on the government to make you independent.
Close the Medicaid gap.
Medicaid gap.
By
Okay.
expanding access coverage in the Affordable Care Act marketplace.
Okay.
So this comes with a $50 billion price tag, the national debt already at an all-time high. Where is this money coming from? You have 60 seconds, sir.
This is not a theoretical issue for me. When I think about healthcare, I think about Lori Davis.
There you go.
A trauma nurse in Covington, Georgia, who spent her career taking care of people. And then she got sick and she had to give up that job. And as she got sicker and sicker, she found herself without health care. She was one of the 600,000 Georgians in the Medicaid gap. She died for lack of health care. And so I ran saying that I would fight to expand Medicaid. Georgia needs to expand Medicaid. It costs us more not to expand. What we're doing right now is we're subsidizing health care in other states. Meanwhile, we've seen 10 hospitals in this state close, 10. And the Atlanta Medical Center right down the street from my church, where I visit my members, has announced that it's going to close. And so Georgia needs a senator who believes, like I do, that health care is a human right. And I will continue to fight until the working class people, by the way, the folks who don't have health care, they work every single day. The folks who are in the gap,
and I believe in that
the folks,
extension of
let me
healthcare.
finish.
Okay, I would like to know what neighborhoods these hospitals are being closed down in and who funds them and why these specific ones are being closed down and the reason. What is the demographic, the area that these hospitals are shutting down? That's what I want to know.
Finish. The folks who are in the gap, the folks who are in the gap are the working poor.
We are moving on, Senator Warnock.
I believe in health care, but he didn't mention
listen,
that he
Mr.
got,
Walker, if I can get your attention, please. In just a few weeks, WellStar will close its doors. This is Atlanta Medical Center, which primarily serves patients in lower income and minority communities.
Okay, so we know what that is.
Hospitals nationwide are dealing with nursing shortages, doctor shortages in the wake of the pandemic. Mr. Walker, what measures can Congress enact to ensure everyone has access to hospitals and doctors? You have 30 seconds, sir.
Well, first of all, Senator Warnock was correct that he
like
believed in working with people, but he didn't do it because Governor Kemp has a plan that would have been a very good plan. But he stood back while Biden destroyed the plan. And he's talking about he believes in the extension of it. He stood back. Well, what the people can be assured of is I'm willing to meet with hospital administrators, meet with people rather than writing a letter, because Senator Warnock waited till they made the decision and wrote a letter. And I said they don't need a pen pal, they need solutions.
We are moving on now, Senator Warnock.
Okay. Let me let him respond. Let me see what he has to say.
That same question to you, sir. What measures can Congress enact to ensure?
Because all I see Herschel doing is Herschel is really pointing out the flaws on the other side. But I don't really see like this is what I'm going to do instead. It's like, yeah, well, if it's a jeering match, Herschel's winning. Herschel is pointing out the flaws and the inconsistencies of his opponent. But I haven't heard anything concrete that is worth voting for coming from Herschel yet. Let's see what he said.
Everyone has access to hospitals and doctors. You have 30 seconds.
Well, clearly he doesn't have a solution. He
said I'll meet with administrators. That's a solution.
He said
you didn't do that.
His solution is to meet. My solution is to pass legislation, which I've done. I got $4 billion in the American Rescue Plan to help the non-expansion states to do what they should have done to expand. They left that money on the table. Georgia left 600,000 Georgians in the Medicaid gap. And so I'm going to keep standing up because people are literally dying for lack of health care. Dr. King said that of all the injustices, inequality in health care is the most shocking and the most...
Man, you know what? At the end of this stream, I'm going to play what Dr. King said. I'm going to play the production of what Dr. King said. Because all this, Dr. King, let me play. Yeah. Oh, I put a production together about what Dr. King said. You know, that always really tickles my slap you button when people do that. Hold on, here we go.
Most inhumane. I agree with Dr. King.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. Buck, now the next topic.
Thank you, Tina. We're going to talk about foreign policy now. Russian President Vladimir Putin has threatened to use nuclear weapons in the conflict with Ukraine, prompting President Biden to claim that we are on the verge of Armageddon. Senator Warnock, if nuclear weapons are used, how should the United States respond? You have 60 seconds.
Oh, good one.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that we are standing up to Putin's aggression. And we have to continue to stand up, which is why I stood up to the Biden administration when it suggested that we should close the Savannah Combat Readiness Training Center. I told the president that was the exact wrong thing to do at the exact wrong time, and I'm glad that I was able to stand up with Congressman Buddy Carter and others, and we kept that training center open. I've seen up close what those service members do. They are the tip of the spear, and we have to make sure that our service members know that we have their back. We have to strengthen our allies and the NATO alliance as we've done, and make sure we stand up to Russian aggression. Nothing could be.
Man, this dude look like he got a French manicure. I don't know. Look, somebody got to point that out. I don't know what that is. But let me tell you something. Look at this. I've heard different narratives how the United States should respond if Putin uses nuclear weapons. It's interesting that I've heard a lot of very prominent people say United States shouldn't do a doggone thing. That's interesting. Here we go.
Be more important.
Mr. Walker, the same question to you. If nuclear weapons are used, how should the U.S. respond? You have 60 seconds.
Well, first of all, he talked about standing up. You didn't stand up to Chuck Schumer when you could have got a helicopter company here of almost $1 billion. You let it go to New York. You didn't stand up then. You didn't stand up to Biden when he left American people and had 13 military soldiers killed in Afghanistan. You didn't stand up then. So what we can do is, Putin is a bully. And the way you beat a bully, you show strength. Well, Senator Warnock said he stood up. He not stood up to Biden. If he was standing up, he wouldn't have voted with him 96% of the time, which gave us an open border, which gave us high inflation, which gave us crime in the streets. And he talking about standing up. He didn't stand up. He have laid down every time it came around, and you know that, Senator.
It is evident that he has a point that he tries to make time and time again. I've stood up to the Biden administration so that they could keep open this Combat Training Readiness Center, stood with our congressional delegation to do that. I've worked across the aisle time and time to get good things done for the people of Georgia. I worked with a senator from Texas to build out I-14. I worked with a Republican senator from Alabama to help Georgia farmers get their products to market. I will work with anyone and stand up against anybody I need to stand up against to get good things done for Georgia. I work for the people of Georgia.
We need to move forward to our next topic, gentlemen.
Okay, let me give you something in debate tactics. This is playing right into debate tactic. I don't know the number, but I'll tell you this: where you're constantly on the back foot. You can never touch any of your points, any of the things that you really want to talk about. Why? Because of your track record. Your track record will keep you on the back foot. That's the reason Kamala Harris did not have any success in her presidential run. What was the lady? What was her name? Give something. She tore off into her. She tore off into Kamala Harris. I mean, just laid down her entire track record, kept her on the back foot. When that happens, you could pretty much kiss your candidacy goodbye, or just hope that there's enough diehard, loyalists that will forgive your gaffe. Because this right here, he is losing. Why? Because he's arguing on the back foot. When people do that, the best way to combat that is to bring it right back to the point that you want to talk about. But he's arguing on the back foot. Here we go.
Our time is running short. Both of you have strong backing from your respective parties. Senator Warnock, a simple yes or no here. You will have a chance to explain, but I'd like a simple yes or no. Would you support President Biden running for a second term in 2024?
I've not spent a minute thinking about what politicians should run for what in 2024.
Is that a yes or a no?
The answer is I have not, and maybe this is difficult. Maybe this is difficult for people to understand. Because
no, it's difficult for you to answer straight. That's what it is. Answer straight, bro.
How politicians think. I think that part of the problem with our politics right now is that it's become too much about the politicians. You're asking me who's going to run in 24? The people of Georgia get to decide who's going to be their senator in 3 days, Monday. And I hope they'll show up and vote. And I'd be honored to represent them in the Senate.
Let me tell you something. To say that you have not thought about who is going to be the next president, to say that has not crossed your mind, that's first of all disingenuous. Every person that is in the Senate is beholden to someone. Typically, they're beholden to someone. They're beholden to their party. And they kind of know what's happening before everybody else does. I'm getting from him he's too much of a politician. He's not. He's too scared to be straightforward. Let's see where this goes.
You haven't thought about it. If you can think about it now, in 2024, the president will turn 82 years old. Are you concerned about his physical and his mental fitness at that time? You have 30 seconds.
The people of Georgia.
The Middle Gods return.
Damn.
Judas Priest.
Let's get this commercial off here.
Metal years.
Thank you, Judas Priest.
Hired me to represent them regardless of who's in the White House.
Okay.
I'm honored to do that job every single day.
Uh-huh.
My dad said if somebody hires you to do a job, do the job they hired you to do. They didn't hire me to be a pundit. And I'm working every single day for hardworking families in Georgia, for our women, for our workers, and for kids like
There it goes again. That's the trick bag. See, the man's a pastor. Why do pastors always do this? Why do they always try to really get the attention of the women? They don't really focus on families. They focus more on the women than anything. Be careful about that emotional campaigning. People will say a whole bunch of things and then they say women, and then a lot of women have a knee-jerk reaction, kind of like, well, I'm an advocate for women. He said women, so therefore, I'm going to go for him because the other guy didn't say women. That is a trick that has been used forever, especially by the Democrats. I mean, come on. Talk about what it is that you're going to do for the vote. Huh? Talk about what the people talking about.
like me, growing up in places like Caton Homes.
Mr. Walker, former President Trump is also considering a run for the White House in 2024. If you can give me a simple yes or no answer, and we'll give you time to explain as well, would you support a Trump 2024 run?
Yes, I would. And let me tell you, President Trump is my friend. Has nothing to do with that. He's my friend. I won't.
Now listen here. This half sleepy man, let me tell you something. You got to respect the fact that he's straightforward. He'll answer the question, boom. He answers it, and agree with or disagree. I respect the fact that he at least answers the damn question, man. Come on, bro. Stop. The other cat, he's too much of a preacher politician.
Leave my allies, which is what Senator Warnock and Joe Biden did in Afghanistan. They left their allies. They left their allies, and right now on a foreign stage, a lot of these people don't trust us no more. They don't trust us to be strong anymore. So they're waiting to see who's going to stand up, who's going to trust. They have no one to trust right now because I said President Trump is my friend, and he won't stand up with Biden when yet he's voted with him 96% of the time. Let's be real.
Mr. Walker, are you...
Pause. Look, now, let's be real. Now, he said President Trump is his friend. Now, let me give you a little bit of history. Now, I'm not a Trumper or a Bidener or any one of these things. I'm looking at who is talking about the things that we're talking about. But let me tell you this much. I noticed that Trump had a lot of friends before he ran for office. A lot of people were his friends. Look all the rappers that had him in his videos. But the moment that he ran for president, it's like, no, nigga. Can't be seen with you. Here we go.
Concerned about the ongoing legal investigations around the country and including here in Georgia. You have 30 seconds.
Well, first of all, I would hope that Senator Warnock, he and myself being people of color, would want the scales of justice to not have a hand on it. We want the Lady Justice to be blind, but in this instance here, Lady Justice is not blind. And I said, right now, with everything that is going on, what I like to do is get to what's important. What's important is protecting the border. What's important is protecting people on the street. What's important is getting this inflation down. Not what's going on there in Washington, talking about whether President Trump is guilty or not guilty. What I want to do is see due process, which is what I hope Senator Warnock and myself would love to see.
Changing topics now, we're going to move forward just to give you guys both an update that you may want to know, although the news is not great if you're a Braves fan. Right now, they're in the top of the ninth inning, Game 3, National League Division Series, down 9-1 to the Phillies. Not a great night for the Braves. Just a few weeks ago, the World Series champs, though, they did visit the White House. Their visit sparked a renewed debate about the team's name and their signature tomahawk chop. Mr. Walker, do you believe the Braves should rethink their name, their logo, or their signature cheer? You have 30 seconds.
Not at all. You know, right now, we have too many other things to be concerned about. We have people dying on the streets in Atlanta, around the country. We have people living paycheck to paycheck, can't afford food to put on their table, can't afford gas. We have Putin out there. We have China out there. We can't be concerned about whether the Braves are going to change their name. We need to be concerned about saving this country. We need to be concerned about saving the Georgia people. We need to be concerned about giving people a right to live the liberties and freedoms that the Constitution of the United States guarantees them to have.
Senator Warnock, the same question to you.
I mean, all it is a speech, you know, saying what we need to be concerned about. But, you know, people really want solutions. Now, maybe he has solutions somewhere down the line, but I'm hearing, some good speech. Now, I do agree with that, this focusing attention. Well, maybe we should all change the name. And I'll go to the Atlanta Braves. Listen, let me tell you something. I have so many different things that I could slap at the top of the important list than worrying about changing the name of a multi whatever million or even perhaps even a billion. I don't know how much this team is worth. But there are a lot of other people that have considerably more issues than worrying about what we're going to call this very wealthy team. Silly. Here we go.
In regards to the Braves, do you think they should?
It reminds me of that. You remember the Aunt Jemima whole debacle? Man, get out of here. Nobody was worried about that nonsense. Here we go.
Do you think their name, their logo, or their signature cheer?
Well, first of all, I'm praying for the Braves right about now. They've got a ways to go here. Listen, the management of the Braves is meeting with our tribes, and they're having a conversation about this. And I know the folks over at the Braves organization, and I trust that they and the tribes that they're talking to will come to a place that makes sense for all involved.
Senator Warnock, we're going to go ahead and continue. We want to get a few more questions in tonight. Senator Warnock, some of your Senate colleagues have called for expanding the number of seats on the Supreme Court. In 15 seconds, quickly, sir, would you support this? What
I support.
Expanding
listen,
the seats on the Supreme Court.
I think that my job as a senator is to protect the rights of ordinary citizens. And for the first time, perhaps in my lifetime, we've seen those rights contract rather than expand, whether we're talking about the reproductive rights of women.
Let me ask you something. You ever ask somebody a yes or no question, and they start telling you the history of the United States? Could you just answer yes or no, please? Could you please answer the question that was asked of you? This man is a politician. He will not answer the question. Let me rewind.
On the Supreme Court.
I think.
Do you support expanding the Supreme Court?
That my job as a senator is to protect the rights of ordinary citizens. And for the first time, perhaps in my lifetime, we've seen those rights contract rather than expand, whether we're talking about the reproductive rights of women or voting rights. And I'm going to do everything I can to protect the rights of the citizens of Georgia.
This man will not answer the questions.
Warnock, Mr. Walker, would you support expanding the number of seats on the Supreme Court?
How much you want to bet that he answers it straight up? Here we go.
In 15 seconds, sir.
Yes, when you get in Washington, you have to become a leader. Being a leader, you have to make tough decisions. And you see on that answer there, he really didn't give you an answer. So my answer is no. Okay. I wouldn't know.
Agree with or disagree?
Thank you, gentlemen. Now
you
we
lose
have
the
reached
election
the point for final moments of this debate.
based off
chance
a dude
for
just being
your
straight
closing
up.
remarks.
You
And you have 60 seconds.
Each have 60 seconds to answer, and Senator Warnock, you have the floor first.
How do you keep your place looking great and still keep your valuable firearms and your family?
By clicking.
Thank you so very much, Georgia. It's wonderful to be here. Listen, in this state, we have nearly 11 million people, and only 2 people get to represent us in the United States Senate, just 2. And when I think about that, it is an awesome responsibility, one that humbles me and inspires me to work as hard as I can for hardworking families every single day. And I've worked with Democrats and Republicans in order to do that work. These are difficult times. These are dark times. But the scripture says that the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness overcometh it not. I'm honored to represent you in the Senate. I hope that you'll show up to vote early, beginning Monday. I'd be honored to have your vote. God bless you.
It actually said the darkness comprehends it not, meaning that, you don't understand the light.
Keep the faith.
Mr. Walker, your turn for closing statements, and you have 60 seconds as well.
For those of you who are concerned about voting for me, a non-politician, I want you to think about the damage politicians like Joe Biden and Raphael Warnock have done to this country. I want you to think about Raphael Warnock, what he said today. And I said he was going to try to give you some smooth talk and tell you what's happening. What's happening is this country is hurting. What's happening is we need leaders. So what I want to say to you, Senator Warnock, is I want to thank you. I want to thank you for this. But at the same time, I want to say Georgia needs leaders. They need leaders that's going to stand up for them. So let's think about if we give Senator Warnock 6 more years, think of what this country will become. I'm not sure we can make up for that.
Gentlemen,
so I
thank
said
you.
vote for Herschel Walker.
Thank you both, gentlemen. That's going to conclude our debate for this evening. Before we leave tonight, though, we want to remind voters that early voting begins in Georgia on Monday. It will run through November 4th. Election Day is November 8th.
Well, how
Candidates, thank you. And we, of course, want to...
Look. Okay. Georgia has some thinking to do. But what I heard in that debate right there, I heard a lot of mention of Martin Luther King. Well, Ebenezer Church and Martin Luther King. I said, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go, I'm going to end this stream. I'm going to play the production that I made of Martin Luther King. Yeah, it has a kind of a comedic twist, a little bit to it. Some of it, I went, I kind of had to go overboard to really push the message because it seemed as though, people always want to mention Dr. King. Oh, did you march with him? I certainly did. And I'm going to mention him when I want people to vote for me. That's the emotional preacher. It's not the emotional preacher, but the preacher that kind of seduces you through the emotion. They use a lot of visual talk, a lot of talk about hope, a lot of they will juxtapose the past with what they've heard you wish for. It's like, hypnosis. In hypnosis, the more descriptive you are, the more successful you are. So people, they really need to look out for that because, I don't know, it seems like, even when I was growing up in the South, looking at the people at my grandmother's church, it's like, man, these people are really moved by the stuff the pastor is saying. And then they all give money. And then nothing gets done. But you always hear people mention some of the people that actually were trying to do something. You always hear them mention aspects of them, little bitty pieces. Where Martin Luther King, you see, like Martin said, what Martin said. Well, let me ask you this. Is your campaign, since you mentioned Martin, are you going to run off of what Martin Luther King was running off of? No? Yes? Perhaps? Maybe? Well, let me pull this file up. Because I do think that some people need a reminder. Now, when you're out there voting, if you choose to, withhold your vote, if you choose to really press the candidates of your choice, the bottom line is the vote is yours. The vote is yours, and the narrative is going to be the same. All I'm doing is just pointing out certain inconsistencies, certain things that I observe in the candidates. You make your own decision. Now, you had one candidate that did a whole lot of preaching, a whole lot of good talk, but didn't answer anything. The other candidate, well, he was able to keep his opponent on the back foot, but he didn't say anything that I observed was anything concrete, a concrete solution that people can look at and say, absolutely, man, I agree with you. So, here we go. Let me see if I can pull this up, because I do think that some people need a reminder. What in the world did Martin Luther King stand for? What was he talking about? All this, Martin Luther King. Okay, since you want to use him, okay, hold up. Let's see. Here we go. I got him right here. Already ready for you. Oh, yeah. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Now, remember this. To always keep it logical. Use your God-given sense of common sense and wisdom, and also listen. Put your emotions to bed and listen to everything through an objective ear. That way you'll be able to see everything. That way you'll be able to hear everything and understand. So, till next time, here we go. I'm going to play this video for y'all. But remember, never let anyone. I said, what? I said, never let anyone control your narrative. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Let me see if I can play this for y'all. Got it! Oh, yeah.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm, Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. This is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
King was clearly a very great man, and as a result of his work and the work of thousands of other people in the civil rights movement, clearly enormous changes took place in this country. That much of what he attempted to accomplish has, of course, not happened. His dream may be half-built. And I think maybe to conclude these remarks is to say,
get our check.
I actually was at the March on Washington with Dr. King back in 1963.
Get our check.
A lot of African Americans are starting to call for reparations for the many years of stolen labor through slavery. Is that something that you would support as president?
No, I don't think so.
that much of what he attempted to accomplish has, of course, not happened.
We're coming to get our check.
It's not going to happen now. But we have got to hold on to that vision.
Well, I think it would be, very divisive. I think the real issue is when we look at the poverty rate among the African American community, when we look at the high unemployment rate within the African American community, the incarceration rate within the African American community, we have a lot of work to do. So I think what we should be talking about is
get our check.
What more do you want from me?
Get our check.
No. Leave me alone.
Get our check.
No. So now I love to say, welcome to McDonald's. May I help you?
Get our check.
No. What? No. What? No. What?
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Okay.
This is what we are faced with.
Do you support reparations for black people?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Do you support reparations for black people?
You ain't black.
What?
Mommy! Mommy! Mama! Mama! Mama!
What?
You ain't black.
No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with the pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. In this campaign, we're coming.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anywhere